Let's take a look at some of the tax effects and money income effects of the big, beautiful bill, the stupidest named bill ever. Don't forget to go check out my YouTube page. There's a link in the bio. Subscribe. Here's a letter from the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. The letter is to Brendan Boyle, the ranking member on the Committee on the Budget, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House. The CBO estimates that if the legislation is enacted, on average, U.S. households would see an increase in the resources provided to them by the government over the 2026 to 2034 period. However, resources would decrease for households in the lowest decile, the 10th of income distribution, and they would increase for households in the highest decile, the top 90%. The deficit would increase by $3.8 trillion over 10 years. Over that period, there would be $698 billion less in federal subsidies to Medicaid, $267 billion less in federal spending for SNAP, that's the food program, and $64 billion less in spending for all other purposes. So about 94% of the spending cuts, Medicaid and SNAP. Back to the deciles, here are the changes in household resources. The lowest decile, the bottom 10%, losing about 2 to 4% or so, highest decile, 1 to 4% increase. Here's another analysis from the Penn Wharton School. They have different estimates of the effect on the deficit, saying that the primary effect would be about $4.3 trillion with another $230 billion or so thrown in, but that would be partially offset by spending cuts of around $1.8 billion for a total cost of around $2.8 trillion over 30 years. What about the effects on people? Well, look at the left side of this chart. They do it in quintiles, which is 20%. So if you're in the bottom 20%, you're going to lose about $820. The next 20% lose about $430. The middle, about $840 gain. 80% or so, making around 93 grand, you gain about $3,000. 80 to 90%, around $263,000, you'd earn an extra $7,570, or you get the benefit of that. 95 to 99%, you're now pushing up against a $400,000. You'd gain about 17, 18 grand. The top 1%, around $1 million, you'd gain $41,000, and the top 1/10 of 1%, income over $4 million, you're going to gain about 390 grand. There you go. Pretty big wealth transfer to the top people in the income brackets.